Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day. Through His holy prophet, Drew Ali. Ameen.
For those of you who came last week, we had a great demonstration with the brother Zion Lex, breaking down the Hebrew, giving a lot of informative information. And a lot of you who were here who bear witness to the demonstration, you can see some of the information that the sheiks have been giving you here. It falls right in line with what he teaches. And I never sat down and had a conversation with the brother as far as his ideology on Hebrew language, Hebrew culture, but you can see he solidified some of the same information that we were teaching. We talked about how you had a lot of Hebrew culture and a lot of our ancestors, they migrated from out of the Levant, out of the land of Canaan, into the continent we now know as Africa, with a lot of this information. A lot of these ancient people were in ancient Kemet. They may have not originated there, but they made that migration there. So you can see the information coincides with what the brother was teaching. I'm not a master at Hebrew, but you can see some of the basic understandings of Hebrew. He pretty much co-signed and reinforced the information that me and the Sheikh has been teaching. Which is, again, a lot of other movements, they're not really teaching this type of information. They keep it pretty much basic. We were taught about the Old Testament, Leviticus chapter 25, verse 10, which is inscribed on the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia, in the state capital in Philadelphia. If you held in bondage for 6 years, on the 7th year, you're set free. Right, so we definitely teach about the Old Testament. We make points of references from the Bible. As stated before, the Circle 7 Quran, which is one of the books from my literature, has a lot of informative information in this piece of literature, in this pamphlet. Divinely prepared, it states divinely prepared by the Prophet Noble Joe Ali. And this particular piece of literature teaches about the 18 missing years of Jesus Christ's life, or Yeshua's life. Not to be taken literally as a historical reference, but these are all codified lessons to teach you about yourself, about your growth and development. These lessons teach you how to navigate through your trials and tribulations while you navigate on this physical plane. You're a spiritual being going through a physical experience. So certain things you go through in life, these are life lessons. Whether your life is cut short or whether you live a long life, these are life lessons. We believe in reincarnation, so sometimes you may have to go through something. In this cycle, you may have to, when you make your transition, you incarnate, you come back to correct the wrongs from your previous life. You may, that's why sometimes you go through certain things, like, why do I go through certain things? Why did, this person in my life pass? Why did this relationship didn't work? Why did I lose this amount of money? So on and so forth. You go through all those trials and tribulations, all learning processes. But you may have to, if you fail a grade in school, you may have to repeat that. So you may have to incarnate to come back and right the wrong that you might have done in your previous life. That's why sometimes you go through certain experiences, you be like, yo, this is deja vu. I've been here before, I experienced this before. So on the metaphysical and spiritual plane, you did. Now you're coming back. Now you know how to navigate. Now, if you notice, I use the term Jesus, and then I also use the term Yeshua. Sometimes Yeshua is spelled Y-E-S-H-U-A or Yeshua, Y-E-H-O-S-H-U-A, which means salvation, or Yahweh is my salvation. Now in English, Yeshua is Joshua. That would be the English pronunciation or the English translation, so to speak. And the brother Zion Lick stated, although in contemporary terms there's no J in ancient Hebrew or Greek, but certain letters have a double letter. So he said the double letter for G is Y, right? But it's not Y for J. All right, so that double letter is the G. That's the hidden letter for that sound. And we, really we dealing with the science of sound. Sound, which has a numerical value, each letter or sound has a numerical value. And depending on the decibels, certain sounds could break glass. You have singers who could break glass, so sound is important. Sound can also affect the physiology of the human body. So even if a child is in the mother's womb, that child is in water. And so that vibration travels more powerful and more faster in water. So the sounds that the mother hears and the sounds she makes is affecting that fetus while it's in the womb. All right? Now, in Arabic, Yeshua or Jesus would be Isa. That's in the East, Isa. All right? Now, when you deal with the tetragrammaton, it's YHVH. Yad He, Vav He. Yad or Yad. Yo. That's the sound you're making for the Most High. So, as stated before, you really can't put a name on the Most High because he can't be confined into a box. So these are just titles, right? These are titles or attributes. Like you say, Allah has 99 attributes. So these are really attributes, but you really can't confine the Most High to a name. Now, it's a lot of different degrees when dealing with Jesus, as the Sheikh broke down how Christianity and story of Jesus is relative to Serapis. When you do the research on Serapis, you can see where that story may have came from. All right, how many of y'all did that research, looked up Serapis? Y'all followed up on that? The Sheikh gave, right? But then also you have, Hellenism, which is the corruption of Christianity, right? And then you also have the Council of Nicaea, Rome, and the Catholic Church in the 4th century, who were dealing with the teachings of Paul, going to church on Sunday, making this European version of Yeshua, or Jesus. Some people say it's the painting that Michelangelo painted. Things of that nature. So these are things that we have to be careful of. You're walking a fine line when you're dealing with Hebrew culture, understanding language and what was put forth by Christianity for a particular reason. The brother Jason, he sent me a great video from a brother named Dan Calloway, who's doing these, right now he got the internet on fire with these short little documentaries he's doing. And how many people saw those videos that Jason put out? And he showed one video how the educational system, the first thing they did was they sent in Catholic missionaries and Lutheran priests and all of these. They used religion first to brainwashed the indigenous Aboriginal people of America, and then they instituted in the school systems. That's what they did. So this is how they figured out, okay, these people are rebelling, now we gotta separate the children from the parents, and now we have to brainwash them with Christianity. All right, we have to brainwash them with Christianity. So if you haven't seen that video, Jason has a video. Dane Calloway is the brother from Virginia. And he also did another video on Nat Turner. Before I even heard of the brother, I always told you, I said, you know, I don't knock the Nat Turner story, but there's certain holes in that story that I just don't agree with. There's certain things to me that don't make sense. I'm not saying he didn't exist, but the way in which certain things happen, see, the way me and the Sheik was told about Nat Turner was that he was indigenous to the land, and they were trying to take his land.
That's wrong.
That's the story I was always told. When I seen the movie, I said, that's something a little bit different. It was a good movie. Go see the movie, but the story just don't, how they tell the story. Then when you see the brother Dane Calloway video, you can see how these Europeans hid a lot of information about him, and the brother really, Nat Turner, was really indigenous to Virginia. But they don't want you to know that. And you can see that he don't look like your prototypical West African. And they say he was mixed, so on and so forth. But the story that we was told was that the brother was indigenous and he was fighting to protect his land. And the Europeans was encroaching on his land in Virginia.
Turner's the same name as the influence.
Right. Turner's the same last name as Veridasi El Bey from the Washita Turner. But that's the story I was told. And the brother Dane Calloway was going through Virginia showing how they, you know, artifacts are missing, they changing this, they changing that, trying to rewrite the story. So the brother, from when I was educated that he was indigenous to the Americas, he was Aboriginal. Now another piece of literature that we have as part of the curriculum of the Moorish Science Temple of America is the Quran Questions for Moorish Americans, or nicknamed the 101s. And you can see on the cover of the 101s, you have the Prophet Noble Drew Ali holding a woman in the states, humanity. And on the land, I said, you know, it says salvation. 1 foot on water, 1 foot on land. See, that's all codified lessons. When you go through, Prophet stated in his old prophecies that he lifted the veil off all the secret organizations. Now, when you go through some of these fraternal brotherhoods organizations, you can see this book is written and compiled almost like a catechism book. When you go through Freemasonry, they give you a catechism book, and they have these questions, and you have to answer these questions. So it's not so much to be taken literally, but it's allegorical information within those questions and the answers. So all of this is codified information. All this has symbolism. All of that has symbolism. Now, when you read questions 35 to 37, well, rather 36, no, 35, yeah, 35 and 37, it states, where do we get the name Jesus? From the East. What does the name Jesus mean? Jesus means justice. Did the angel give the child that was called Jesus a holy name? Yes, but it cannot be used to those who are slaves of sin. So you can see the codified meaning of Jesus in the 101s is justice. So we don't, just because we know that in Hebrew it's Yahshua, on Arabic it's Easter, we still don't throw away the term Jesus because that has a symbolized meaning as justice. And the prophet knew that our people coming out of the churches or being in the church, the prophet says some of his best morals are in the church. So with that being said, he still uses the term Jesus for a reason because he know that would captivate the minds of the masses. Versus Yahshua, Isa, they're like, what's that? I don't understand that. I speak English. So he used the term Jesus as a method of pulling them in, but telling them, you know, Jesus means justice. So that was